Probably the best marathoner in Canadian history. His performance in the 1976 Olympics and in the 1970s made him a worldwide hero for his dedication to the marathon. Unfortunately, surgery on his $1 million legs killed him. He passed away during complications of knee surgery in recent days, February 10th. Jerome Drayton, the Boston Marathon winner who held the Canadian record for the 26.2 mile race for 43 years, has passed away at age 80. Now, Drayton won the Boston Marathon in 1977, and again he held the Canadian men's marathon record for 43 campaigns. He died unexpectedly on Monday in Toronto, according to Cardinal Funeral Homes. Runner's World magazine said he died during knee surgery. Drayton, inducted in Canada Sports Hall of Fame in 1978, held 12 national titles and set 13 records across various distances. Born to Peter Buniak on January 10, 1945, to Ukrainian parents in Kolbermoor, Germany, he came to Canada with his mother in 1956. In 1969, he officially changed his name to Jerome Peter Drayton, wanting to cut ties with his youth in Germany. He reportedly settled on Jerome Drayton after going through a phone book in a book of names. He took after Harry Jerome, our great sprinter, and he picked Drayton from about 20 others. I tried putting Jerome with all the others, and Drayton seemed to fit best. Drayton said he took up running in high school. I think I may have tried to impress a girl, try to win her away from somebody else, he noted. That didn't work, but I sort of figured at least I'd get an 18-year athletic career out of it. I loved the winning, and I loved the running part. Now, he excelled at the shorter distances before eventually taking up the marathon, running his first in Detroit with the goal of making the Canadian team for the 1968 Olympics in Mexico City. Drayton slowed down over the last few kilometers, but still met the Olympic standard by 3 seconds. Now, trying to explain the agony of a first marathon is trying to explain color to someone who was born blind, he noted. He turned heads in 1969 by winning the Motor City Marathon in a North American record time. Later that year, he won the Fukuoka Marathon in Japan with another North American record. In 1970, he recorded a world record on the track in the men's 10-mile with a time of 46:37.6. Now, he set the Canadian marathon record of 2 hours, 10 minutes, 9 seconds in Fukuoka in December 1975. The record stood until 2018 when Cam Levins was clocked in at 2:09.25 in the first sub 2-minute 10 for the Canadian athlete in the Toronto Waterfront Marathon. I think it's about time the record was broken, Drayton said at the time. I think it should have happened about 30 or 40 years ago, but then I guess the quality of marathon runners wasn't that great in those years. Now in 1976, fighting a cold, he finished 6th in the Olympic marathon in his very distinguished Team Canada jersey. 1 year later, he became the first Canadian in 29 years to win Boston. Then 32, he left American record holder Bill Rogers at the 16-mile mark, eventually winning by almost a minute in 2:14.46. But he was anything but happy after the 42.195 kilometer race. Drayton was hardly the typical exhausted champion basking in the afterglow, New York Times reported at the time. Instead, he blamed a congested start, the absence of watering tables on the course, and a lack of more competition for stripping much of the satisfaction for what he casually described as almost like a Sunday run back home. A self-described private person, only 5'9", 124, he added to his mystery by wearing sunglasses during races, a practice he explained away by saying he was sensitive to sunlight. By 1978, on the world scene, he won a silver at the Commonwealth Games. Now, Drayton won the Fukuoka Marathon 3 times, in 69, 75, and 76. An era when the Japan race was considered the unofficial world title event. Boston, in my years, it wasn't really that high quality, he said in 2018. There were only 2 or 3 runners that I have to worry about in terms of competition. But in Japan, it was usually anywhere from up to about 20, including the Japanese. It was very high quality in those days. He won there in 1975 despite a shoe malfunction, eventually catching the leader with a half mile to go. He said his foot was stiff for about a week afterwards. During his running career, Drayton was an avid reader, looking to learn wherever he could. Anything to do with health and fitness, I would read and make notes for myself, he noted. Anything to do with training. If there was something new, then I would build it into my training program. You have to get to know your own body. It's not enough to just know your body in general. As it related to running and nutrition, you eventually have to get to know yourself, what your needs are. Drayton juggled a full-time work schedule with his training, logging up to 300 kilometers some weeks, an athletic career was considered to be a serious hobby instead of a profession. After retiring, Drayton remained involved in the athletic world as a consultant with the Sports and Fitness Division of Ontario's Ministry of Youth, Culture, and Recreation. Now, what Drayton's style was very, very, what he called workmanlike. He would never take a step that was wrong on the course. Now, he also said he always liked the word, the American Paul Drayton, for his name because he was a former world record holder of 4x100 as part of the American relay. Drayton later denied this, stating he chose Jerome because it was a name he always liked, and Drayton because he thought the two names fit well together. Now, Drayton held a Canadian record since '69 after breaking the then record of 2:18:55 set by Robert Moore a month earlier. So he blasted the record literally by 8 minutes. Pretty freaky. Now, born Peter Buniak, now having been born as the Second War was coming to an end and extreme poverty was widespread, Drayton and his parents had traveled to Germany from Poland aboard a cattle train to escape poverty. Drayton's parents eventually divorced, and his mother, who had custody of him, moved to Canada and brought Drayton over to Toronto in November '56 when he was 11. When he took up running in high school, Drayton's single-mindedness quickly became evident, and it wasn't long before he won top caliber events. After winning the Ontario High School Championships for Mimico High School, he was recruited to the Toronto Olympic Club, where he began working with national distance running coach Paul Post. Now, not too much details have come up about a knee surgery, but like I said, just bad luck for sure. '69, he won the Motor City Marathon Detroit and the Fukuoka Japan Marathon in 2:11:13. He won the Canadian Championships in '73 in St. John's. The Boston Marathon, he was third in '74. Fukuoka, he won again. Olympics in '78, he was sixth in Montreal and won Fukuoka again that year with a 2:13:35. His Olympic time was 2:13:30. Now, Boston, he was second in '77, 2:14:46. New York, he was second in marathon, 2:13:52. Commonwealth Games, a slow 2:16:14. Boston, '79, he was 11th with 2:14:48, and won the National Capital Marathon in Ottawa in 1979 with a 2:18:05. Now, pound for pound, probably one of the greatest athletes in Canadian history because of the consistency over the number of years. When you talked about marathoning across Canada, Jerome Drayton came to mind. And like I said, when I was covering the rescuers, road runners, and marathons throughout the province, everybody said that Jerome Drayton was a standard bearer that got a lot of people involved in the running. He was the Bill Rogers of Canada. That's the best compliment I can say, because until he came along, Canadian marathoners weren't thought about since the 1900s. Obviously, our Aboriginal runners, but Jerome Drayton, and seeing him in the '76 Olympics, that's one of the most interesting tactical races ever in Olympic history. Sapinski and Shorter, and our buddy from Portugal and Drayton and everybody else, and Bill Rogers as well was in that race too. So, ladies and gentlemen, Jerome Drayton, a Canadian hero, will be missed. If you like what we're doing here with our athletic podcast, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share.